In the wild grasslands of Ranthamore, a leopard lives alone in the vastness of nature. Without a herd or companions, it wanders every day in search of food and water. It has a strong body, but its eyes always shine with the silent sadness of a loner. One day the sun was scorching and the grasslands were barren. The leopard could hardly find anything to eat. After hours of searching in vain, it was starving, its legs trembling with exhaustion and disorientation. The smell of smoke and strangers from afar made it curious to walk towards life. It had no idea that it was leaving the sanctuary, the only place where it was safe. The green grass gradually disappeared, replaced by dirt roads, houses, and strange sounds. The leopard entered a small village on the edge of the sanctuary, its eyes filled with surprise. Brightly painted houses, children playing, women washing clothes. Everything was new. But the moment it appeared, a loud scream threw the whole village into chaos. The people ran away in panic. The children cried, and it just stood there confused in the middle of the street. A group of young men were immediately gathered, holding long sticks, their eyes filled with determination and alertness. This was not the first time they had seen a wild animal straying in, but it was the first time they had seen a leopard. They shouted and waved their sticks, approaching the leopard step by step in the hope of chasing it away. The leopard looked at them, feeling scared, not understanding why it was being chased away when it had not done anything. The shouts and the sound of sticks hitting the ground made it panic and turn around to run away. It ran aimlessly, no longer knowing the direction, just wanting to leave that noisy place. On the way to escape, not paying attention to what was ahead, it accidentally stepped into a deep hole. The hole was round in the mouth with vertical walls, a layer of mud, and a little water at the bottom. The fall caused it pain. Its back and legs were burning. Its head hit the ground. Everything became blurry. It tried to stand up, holding onto the ground, but the more it tried, the more it slid into the mud. The cold water seeped into its body. Hunger and panic exhausted it quickly. The sound of sticks and people above still echoed, but gradually faded in its mind. The leopard no longer had the strength to move, only groaned in despair. Its eyes began to cloud. In the last moment before losing consciousness, it saw the blue sky above with regret. Then it collapsed in the waterhole, exhausted, paralyzed, and no longer knowing anything. The next morning, some people heard herding cattle pass by the hole and suddenly discovered the leopard's body lying motionless. At first, they were startled, thinking the leopard was dead. Some people even planned to fill the hole for safety, but an elder suggested getting closer for a closer inspection. As they approached, one shouted, "It's still breathing. Its eyes are slightly open." Immediately, the group changed their attitude, calling for more people to help bring the leopard to shore. They carefully used ropes and sticks, working together to pull the heavy body out of the hole. On the ground, the leopard lay still, weak but still breathing, a slim chance of survival. One quickly called the rangers of the nearby Ranamthorne Nature Reserve. Within 30 minutes, 2 rangers arrived at the scene with first aid kits. They cautiously approached the leopard, observing its reactions while keeping a safe distance. One ranger touched the leopard's chest and nodded in confirmation. "It's just exhausted, not seriously injured." They used a stethoscope to check its heart rate, eyes, and body temperature to assess its condition. "We have to take it to the veterinary station immediately. It can live if it is cared for in time," one of them said. They called a special vehicle, put the leopard on a wooden stretcher, and carried it to the truck. The villagers watched silently, hoping that the wild animal would overcome this danger. At the veterinary clinic in the Ranthamore Reserve, the veterinarians had prepared all the emergency equipment. The leopard was placed on the examination table, and 3 doctors in white coats and masks began working. One doctor administered 4 fluids, another administered vitamin injections, and the rest checked the leopard's heart rate and internal organs. They determined that the leopard was only dehydrated, famished, and had minor injuries from the impact. "No broken bones, no internal injuries. It needs rest and nutrition," the attending physician said. They put it in a separate isolation area with surveillance cameras and staff on duty 24/7. The leopard lay still throughout the night, occasionally whimpering, but its breathing gradually stabilized. The next morning, the doctor fed it some raw meat to test its reaction. The smell of the meat made the leopard open its eyes, struggled to raise its head and begin licking the meat. That sign made the whole room breathe a sigh of relief. It had survived the first danger. Over the next 3 days, the leopard was given nutritional supplements and closely monitored. It gradually regained its strength, stood up, and walked around the cage, albeit slowly. Every meal it ate everything without missing a bite. Its eyes were bright again. The doctors were delighted, reporting the progress to the management board of the reserve. A quick meeting was held to decide when to return the leopard to the wild. That morning, the weather was cool. The sky was clear, ideal for releasing the wild animal. A specialized pickup truck was prepared with a large and sturdy iron cage. The leopard was put on the truck, lying quietly in the cage, looking out at the familiar grasslands that were gradually fading away. In the truck were two rangers who had been monitoring the leopard since it was rescued. They drove deep into the Ranthamampur Reserve, where the grasslands were wide and quiet. At the designated point, they stopped the car, carefully observing the surroundings to make sure there were no other wild animals. One ranger slowly opened the cage door, while the other stood behind to observe the leopard's reaction. The leopard hesitated for a few seconds, then stepped out of the cage, raised its head, and took a deep breath. It looked around, recognizing the familiar smell of nature, of wild grass, of free air. No one pressed, no sound, just the solemn silence between man and nature. The leopard walked faster and faster, then ran away, blending into the green of the wild fields. A sense of victory and peace spread among the people who witnessed that moment. They knew that this time they had not only saved a creature, but also given freedom to a soul. The ranger closed the cage, started the car, and turned back to the station in the morning sunlight. As for the leopard, now no longer alone, but a living part of Ranthambore forever. Dear friend, thank you for taking the time to follow the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more animal stories.